I wonder how many reviewers will kick off their review for Fantastic Four saying, it's fantastic. Because it is. It's a fantastic film. I love this movie. It's one of the best Marvel films ever made. I just watched it earlier tonight, so please, take that into consideration with everything I'm saying. I still have the Fantastic Four jitters, excitement about me. I really, really enjoyed it a lot, and I strongly recommend it. This is a non-spoiler video, by the way. I have so much to say without giving anything away. So first off, why didn't they do a Barbenheimer with this? It's fantastic. Life in Plastic. Why didn't you do Barbenheimer? It could have been called Super 4. Fantastic Man. Super Fantastic. I don't know. I don't make movie titles. I don't make memes. I'm just living life as one. They should have totally done a Barbenheimer because you could watch Superman, then you watch Fantastic Four, and then you debate. And honestly, while they're going for different things, they're doing different things, I feel like the spirit is actually similar in some ways. Superman is a much lighter portrayal of Superman than we've been used to seeing from Zack Snyder's DCU or DCE. I don't know what you call it anymore, but Zack Snyder's Superman, right? That one is much darker and grittier, and James Gunn's is much more light. And while Marvel isn't exactly like DC dark, this Fantastic Four is still lighter compared to other Marvel films. It's got a more light vibe that is refreshing, actually. It's got a sense of hopefulness to it as well. So I feel like these two go together. They're like two peas in a pod. Why not just release it the same day? Fantastic, man. That could have been a thing. Next idea I wanted to share real quick. If there was any Marvel film I had to pick out as my best guess for a Marvel film that Christopher Nolan would love, it would be this one. I think he would love Fantastic Four First Steps. I can't exactly tell you why. I'm sure many of you who are very familiar with Fantastic Four can guess, but there is so much going on in this movie where I'm like, it kind of low-key feels inspired by Christopher Nolan, and I don't want to tell you why. But what I will say is the trailers did a fantastic, I didn't mean to do it that time, did a fantastic job not giving much away. At least the trailers I saw. When I was watching the film, I was like, whoa, this is so much bigger than the trailers led me to believe. It's huge. It's so big in scope, and the visual effects, I would say, is 65, 70% stellar, 70% fantastic, 30%, oh boy, why did you? My 65, 70% in terms of the visual effects means most of the general audience is probably gonna feel 85, 90% in terms of the visual effects, meaning they won't care. They're not gonna care about the things that bothered me. There were visual effects instances where I was like, whew, they could have done another pass on that one. But the acting, the story, what happens in the movie in general, all of it comes together exceptionally well. It's a very, very, very good film that I strongly recommend in theaters. By the way, I gotta shout out The Real Rejects, my brother Greg Alba, because I made a boo-boo. I meant to say this earlier in the video, but the reason I'm doing this by myself is because I messed up. I was supposed to respond to an invite I got for the screening, and it got lost in a pile of other emails. I responded way too late, and so I didn't make it onto the list. I freaked out, and I was texting my brother, and he says, actually, I have a +1 that you can use, so I can bring you. I was like, yes, thank you. Because the trailers were very, very good about not giving anything away, I'm not 100% sure about how to go about conveying ideas to you guys in such a way that does the same exact thing. So I'm gonna read off the IMDb real fast just to kind of give you guys a baseline concept of what happens in the film. Forced to balance their roles as heroes with the strength of their family bond, the Fantastic Four must defend Earth from a ravenous space god called Galactus and his enigmatic herald, Silver Surfer. What I'll do right now is I'll break down each of the members of the Fantastic Four. I watched the original Fantastic Four films ages ago. I remember enjoying them a lot more than I thought I was going to. And so I have a fond feeling in my heart when I think of the older Fantastic Four films. But it has been a really long time since I've watched them. It would be unfair for me to try to compare this to those films, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I like this one a lot more. It's just hitting me at the right time. It's got the right vibe, the visual effects, while is 70% of where I would have liked it to be. It's still beautifully done. There's a lot going on in this movie that I feel like not a lot of comic book films actually do in the way that it's done, the way it navigates dealing with the characters, what they're going through, and family stuff. I loved all of that in the movie. And so Pedro Pascal while he's one of those actors that if you ask anybody, he's amazing, right? Everyone loves Pedro Pascal. I haven't met a single person who doesn't like Pedro Pascal. For the most part, I like him. He's good. He's decent. I don't have much to complain about. I just don't put him on the pedestal that everybody else does. Watching him here, I totally bought into his performance. Not since Narcos have I watched him in a performance and loved what he was doing. I don't remember how I felt about him in Game of Thrones. He was cool as Joel in Last of Us, but the thing is with that, it's just like, I can't help but compare him to the game, and I prefer the game. So this is like just truly just watching him as this. While I was excited about the fan casting of John Krasinski, I really think that Pedro Pascal did a great job here. You know, just watching him be Reed Richards, I bought into him. It was cool because I didn't feel like I was watching the same Pedro Pascal I've seen in other performances. It felt very different from everything else I've seen. Obviously, Pedro Pascal's a strong actor. I didn't expect to appreciate his performance in this as much as I did. Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm is obviously different than the Sue Storm that I recall being played by Jessica Alba. Again, it's been a long time since I've watched the original Fantastic Four films. She definitely has a more mature vibe for Sue Storm, and I appreciate it. I think it's cool. Where they take her character in this film is actually interesting. It's got hills and valleys to it, and there's struggle there. There's conflict that the film explores with Sue Storm and Reed Richards in a way that's actually very interesting. With Joseph Quinn, I honestly was very reluctant off of the commercial. Like, I thought he was cool, but there's definitely a special place in my heart for the original Human Torch. While the performance is not as memorable, anywhere near as memorable as like Heath Ledger playing the Joker, Chris Evans, the way he plays the Human Torch is iconic to me still. How do you replace Chris Evans as the Human Torch? Joseph Quinn, he definitely has his own take on the character. I think that maybe like 20 minutes into the film, I was on board with it. And I was enjoying his performance very much. It's definitely different. It's not the same as what Chris Evans was doing, and it's all the better for it not being the same. When Jared Leto played Joker in the Suicide Squad, I remember he was trying to do his own thing. Certainly, Joaquin Phoenix did his own thing. For me, I was always kind of going back to that same crutch of like, well, I still prefer Mark Hamill, I still prefer Heath Ledger. Like, I still enjoy those performances so much more. Again, I'm aware of the fact that the Human Torch is not comparable to the Joker from The Dark Knight. I get that. But like, he's still a memorable character. That in mind, I think that Joseph Quinn actually did a very good job of being entertaining as the Human Torch. He's a different take, and he's fun, he's very enjoyable, he's very likable, he's interesting. I felt like the film gives his character more to do here than we got to have with the original Human Torch. Same with The Thing, you know, I'm gonna mess up his name, I apologize. Ebon Bachrach. I'm not saying that correctly at all. I'm sure people will correct me. It's not quite the same as this, but the easiest thing for me to compare him to is the shark that Sylvester Stallone played in the James Gunn The Suicide Squad. There's a likability factor to The Thing. Even though they're different characters, there's still a similar vibe insofar as they're these, you know, big creatures that, you know, could easily be scary, but there's something just likable and heartwarming about them. And, you know, that's definitely what was brought to the table here is just warmth. He's dangerous and he's capable, but he's definitely got so much heart and so much love as a character. And then we've got Ralph Ineson as Galactus. It took me a minute to realize it was Ralph Ineson. I don't even know him by name. I just know him by the way he sounds and his face. I think it was a fantastic choice to play Galactus, even though I'm not familiar with Galactus. I don't know the material as far as he goes very well at all. But what I watched, I enjoyed. He had presence, he had that voice, he had gravitas to him. If I had any complaints, it would be about Galactus, but not because of a performance thing. And I can't get into why I have those complaints, but I can just tell you, you know, without giving anything away, I do have complaints about Galactus. So my two complaints that I can think of off the top of my head would be Galactus and some of the visual effects. And then you have Julia Garner, who plays Silver Surfer. I feel like we got more out of this Silver Surfer than the other one. I feel like there was more depth with this one. I feel like there was more explored. It just goes deeper, and I enjoyed what it did. There was a predictable element with Silver Surfer in the movie. I feel like, you know, a savvy movie watcher, anyone who's watched a movie before, you're gonna see some of the beats coming from a mile away. That can't be helped. That's just, it is what it is. Despite knowing that, I enjoyed what it did. One of the most iconic things instantly about this movie is gonna be the music. The music is just, it's gonna be like an earworm in your brain. You're gonna know it. It's just as, to me, it's just as iconic immediately as the Avengers theme song. Throughout the film, the theme is used very well. And so it brings the movie to life. And I think that it actually helps the adventure so much. You know, I mentioned Christopher Nolan earlier. The way that the story is told in the first 30, 40 minutes. It actually feels kind of Nolan-esque in a way, not aggressively. Part of the reason for that is the music, because Nolan lets the music really guide his movie a lot. It's almost like another character unto itself and is very intrinsic to his films and the experience of his films. Likewise here, the Fantastic Four score, for one of the first times that I can remember in a Marvel film outside of Black Panther and of any Avengers film where you hear the Avengers theme song, like this score is so important to the movie experience. It helps so much to bring it to life and move you and make it even more memorable. For a whole host of reasons, like this is definitely one of the best Marvel films ever made. Again, I just got out of watching this several minutes ago, and so I still have the excitement of the movie. My opinion might shift a little bit over time, after watching it again. I might feel a little different because I'll be more critical watching it a second time. But in this moment right now, having just watched it, I'm like, this is so awesome. Like, I really would like to watch this again in the theater. If you've watched a lot of my reviews and you've heard me talk about IMAX at all, you have probably heard how persnickety I am about like the specifics of IMAX and the best IMAX experience. There's like an IMAX format and requirements that are met, and so it gets to bear the name IMAX on the poster, and it gets to be shown in IMAX screens. But like, it's very rarely that you get like the true IMAX experience, like you got with Dune, or you got with any Nolan film, or more recently you got with Sinners. Marvel tends to use an IMAX format that I believe is called 190:1. I don't know what the IMAX format is here. I can look it up. Okay. So this is why I was enjoying it even more, the IMAX experience, because they hit the true IMAX format in some scenes, apparently. The 1:4:3:1 aspect ratio. I knew there was something different about this one. I knew there was something different in the IMAX presentation. So you gotta watch this in IMAX, because it hits the true IMAX format. Not all Marvel films do that. Oftentimes when it says IMAX, what they're saying is 190:1, whereas this goes like full tilt, full IMAX. And you're not gonna get to have that experience at home. Whereas the other IMAX experiences that Marvel talks about, you can get that on Disney Plus right now. They'll give you the taller format, the 190:1 format, but you can't get 1:4:3:1 at home. You can't get the true Sinners IMAX at home. You can't get the true Nolan IMAX at home. And so this warrants, and I would say necessitates, watching it in theaters, so you can get that full experience at an IMAX theater. That's cool. I just discovered that, like you watched me discover it in real time. And I think that's so awesome, because I'm watching and I'm like, this feels like it's bigger than the other Marvel IMAX movie experiences. And it definitely was. Kudos to our director, Matt, gosh, I forgot, Shakman. I'm mispronouncing his name too. I think he did a fantastic job. I meant to do it that time. I think he did a fantastic job with this movie. I strongly recommend it. I loved it, and I can't wait to watch it again to see if I feel more hypercritical towards it, or if I love it just as much as I felt tonight watching it for the first time.